of MB and Homeland.
Thank you for having me on, guys. My name's Mark. I have been a big fan of Doctor Who all my life. In fact, I don't think there's been a point I can remember a time without it, for better or for worse. And I am probably most known in the community for making like Doctor Who fan projects or fan films, and that's kind of primarily what we'll chat a bit about today. But I'm 27 years old. I live in the UK. I'm trying to put my foot in the door in terms of the film and TV industry, and what better way to do it than to create wonderful Doctor Who projects and get to network and chat with wonderful people like yourselves. So yeah, that's pretty much me in a nutshell.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. I will say, and like film wise, looking at the project, the production values of it, having been someone who grew up like after getting involved in Doctor Who and seeing lots of fan stuff, the production values of Outlander is insane.
Oh, thank you.
Like I showed my friend Sam, who Kate knows very well, and he was like, "Is this Doctor Who?" It's like, it's a fan thing, and he was astounded. It's honestly the production level. So yeah. Yeah,
no, I really appreciate that. And that's kind of that's the vibe that a lot of people have said, and it's interesting, like what you said, the kind of blurring the lines between, not just myself, but many other fans out there have made such wonderful content that it's starting to become a strange kind of area where it's like it's really hard to tell the two apart, in a good way, I think, So yeah, no, I'm really touched that your friend Sam really enjoyed it, and yeah, we're very proud of it. I think most people who make projects or work on creative stuff are quite self-critical. I can see all the flaws in Outlander, but there are things that I see that you guys are not even going to think about. But yes, no, the feedback so far has been really great, so I really appreciate that.
Yeah. It's amazing. How did you get into film? Like, was it something you went to university for, or was it something you've always done?
So it's interesting because I have really vivid memories of being 8 years old and growing up with the revival era of Doctor Who. I'm kind of at that age where I wasn't alive at all when the classic run of the show was on. So it kind of gives you an idea of roughly my age. Oh, actually, I said my age earlier. Okay, yeah. Anyway, never mind.
It's not a mystery anymore.
Oh, never mind. How did you know that? When the show came back, I already knew what it was because I grew up with these VHSs that my granddad had. With all the funky artworks, which I'm sure you guys have probably seen and are familiar with as well. And so Doctor Who's always been there. It's always been a part of my life. So even when the show came back, I already knew what this IP was. But I remember being 8 and really wanting to film my own adventures. Frankly, I wanted to act in them. I wanted to star in them. And I remember saying to my next door neighbour, Tom, who had just got a camera for like his 12th or 13th birthday. So a couple of years older than me. And I just sort of said to him, hey, do you want to just make these sort of Doctor Who adventures? I didn't say fan film. I probably didn't even know what that word was at the time. And 20 years later, we're still doing it. So not on the same budget, not on the same kind of fun adventures running around our parents' garden and stuff and getting our siblings involved and stuff. We've kind of moved up, as you saw and as you've said in the trailer and stuff. We're now collaborating with people who want to be actors, or people who are well-established actors, and people who are experienced in Disney Plus shows, Netflix shows, BBC shows. And so we've come a very long way in those 20 years, and it's almost almost like a good journey that you can kind of watch this documented across YouTube over so many years. So like I said, I wanted to be an actor to start with, but then as years went on, I kind of leaned more to the making of, and I cared more about the behind the scenes sort of stuff. That probably happened about 10 years ago, and then I went off to uni in 2019. So I studied 3 years studying film, TV and digital production. graduated in 2022, despite doing a lot of my degree under COVID, which is very hard to do, very hard to make films whilst in a flat. So it became a little bit too much of a degree of like, you're going to think about what it might feel like to make films. Like, oh, yay! That's what I signed up for and spent all this money on. So sadly, there's this generation, you guys might be the same, that are a little bit kind of in a bit of a box that kind of studied at COVID, depending on their degree, depending on their academic field. But yeah, so I've come out of uni, very keen to put my foot in the door. The industry, or the film and TV industry, is sort of dead from the vibe I get from a lot of people. They might just be being nice. It's very competitive as well, so it's not going to be easy sailing to begin with. So instead of sitting around and crying about it and sulking, you know, go do what you love. Go do what you've been doing already for the past 20 years. And that's kind of where Outlander comes from. It's not a do-all or end-all sort of thing. You know, if Outlander doesn't do well, we'll just keep going and keep making it because we love it. So yeah.
Have you found that there's like people take the project more seriously than what they did like years back with like the production wise? There's more people that are interested to take part in the YouTube, even though it isn't what is known as like a classic media.
Oh, I like that. I think so. I've seen two very different things happen. I went from graduating at uni, knocking on as many different film and TV doors and just basically not really getting anywhere, to the reverse has kind of happened with Outlander, where people really want to be a part of it who have a lot of experience. And I find that very daunting because I am just some guy who stacks shelves for a living. You know, by day I stack shelves, by night I make Doctor Who Outlander. And so I'm almost very in disbelief that these people are like, you know, these people have worked on Rivals or the Batman or even Doctor Who itself, and I'm like, what? Why do you want to help out with this? You know, what is it that you see that I don't see? You know, but there is still, I'm afraid that, you know, I feel there's still a bit of a stigma towards fan films. I think because the topic of fan film is so broad. You know, I mentioned earlier, you know, there are some fan films out there that are 8-year-olds running around their parents' garden, and there's nothing wrong with that. You know, there's a sweet charm to it, and obviously that's where I came from. But then there's also fan films on the other end of the spectrum where you've got high budget or, you know, trying to put their foot in the door, trying to get a reputation. And then there's everything in between. So it's a very broad topic. So I have had times where I've said to people, you know, I make Doctor Who fan films, and they almost like visibly step back. Because in their head they're thinking that could mean anything, you know, that you could be running around in your parents' garden with your phone, or it could be something quite high end. And so I think some people still do shun Outlander. They look at it and think, you know, oh, that's just some fan film, which is a shame because you should probably judge it. You should probably watch it and judge it, you know. Yeah. I'd rather people watch it and rip it apart than not watch it at all and judge it, you know. So, yeah, to answer your question, there's been a big influx of people really keen to be a part of it, but maybe there are still some high-up execs that I'm still trying to knock at the door with, and it's just trying to get something on their desk for them to see without sort of just scrolling past it, assuming it's just another fan film, you know.
Amazing. I like the fact that, I don't know what your opinions on The Timeless Child are, but I like the idea where it's opened up so much possibility for infinite amount of Doctors. I kind of feel with Doctor Who fan films, they kind of can be in a way canon, if that makes sense, because it's an interesting thing that's come from the show. Something that's very polarizing actually can be quite good for the fandom.
Yeah, no, I saw a lot of people talk about that when that came out, and I even remember, I think some people did like some fan edits where they actually put like MB and Homeland related content into the big montage that Jodie has when she escapes.
Amazing.
So yes, yeah, I'm quite chill with canon. You know, obviously it's nice to have some order. You don't want to have the Doctor do one thing one week and then change their mind the week after. But you know, it's good to see that there can be. Well, I guess a big really. I don't want to go into too much detail about Outlander, but I think one good message is I feel like sometimes people depend too much on the Doctor having to save them, and I feel like it'd be nice if people treated. Not just the show, but their own lives as, you know, there's a little bit of the Doctor inside all of us. So, you know, we can go on and we don't have to wait for someone to save us. We can go on and do great things and do brilliant things. So this kind of, these people that get kind of a bit cross about the Doctor's canon maybe being too open and not as restricted, I really don't mind. I think it's probably shown a lot of positives. So,
yes.
Yeah, it's nice to have canons. Yeah, sorry. It's nice to have canons like in place for certain things. But yeah, with all that. But then it's also the people that have like the really good headcanons. It's nice to have fan versions of things and ways where you can also say this could legitimately happen. It might not be what is official canon, but it could be. Like having that type of thing in place is a really nice thing, and it's one of the really good things about like the creative things bouncing back and forwards off of other types of media. But yeah, definitely really good.
Yeah, I think it was spot on. Yeah,
I was going to say, Kate, you and Mark have very similar Doctor Who upbringings in a way, because it was all, from what I remember, you said it was always part of your childhood. Not that you accepted
I knew of Doctor Who. Like it was a constant thing of like my mum absolutely loved it. Always knew that, but I wasn't introduced to classic Who at all when I was younger. Okay. For me, the first introduction was begrudgingly watching Doctor Who because of David Tennant.
Oh yes, yeah.
So, because of how can I like this thing that my mum really liked?
I'm trying to think who got me into Doctor Who. I don't think it was even my parents. I think it must have been my granddad. But I think it's mad, you know, because Doctor Who is obviously so fitting with time and time being in flux. Like, if my granddad was a fan of Star Trek, would we be talking about Star Trek now? You know, or you know, would I be making Star Trek fan films or James Bond or something else? You know, and it's just crazy how one very small moment in my childhood has kind of influenced who I've become, and that might be very similar for yourselves. You know, yeah, spooky.
Yeah, I very much resonate with that. I not achieved it yet, but I'd love to go into writing. And the reason I started like learning how to properly write and write screenplays and stuff was because of Doctor Who. To write for that show would be the ultimate goal. But that's why I got into writing, although it's gone to a different direction and now we're doing this podcast. But the whole impetus of it was Doctor Who. And I think there's something Doctor Who, very inherent in Doctor Who. It brings out creativity in people, be it behind the camera or on screen. It's very inspirational, I suppose.
Yeah, and there's not many shows like it where every week it can be a completely different show. It can be a historical piece, it can be set on a spaceship, and everything in between. And I think that's what appeals to me a lot about it. A lot of people have said to me, why don't you move on? Why don't you you've been doing this so many years, make something else for a change. Like, come on, Mark. But it's like, to make a short film, it's like, and I don't get me wrong, I have a lot of fun making short films and make a fair few each year. But it's like, it kind of loses that kind of impact. I don't know why. I also worry sometimes it might be my comfort. I'm just so familiar with it and done it so long that it's almost part of me. And don't get me wrong, in those 20 years we have had like odd year breaks and stuff like that, kind of breathing space. But there's we're always just keen to make something to kind of put some sort of project together. And it always comes back to Doctor Who. I just think because there's so much you can do.
Completely.
I think that with Doctor Who, it's one of the more approachable shows out there, with how it can be watched by the whole family. You don't have to be really into space and spaceships to watch this sci-fi show. You don't have to really be into history to enjoy this history show. It's a bit of something for everyone, and it's got such a fun way of displaying things, fun cast. Like, the Doctor is always likable in every single iteration that I've seen.
Absolutely,
He's always likable. So that's obviously lends itself to how the whole fandom really is, like the creativeness of you, how inviting everybody is when you get like into this type of thing, and it's a brilliant way to like breed the creativeness and love of Doctor Who as a whole, just because of how it was made and how it is now in general.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think the fans are wonderful. You know, I've not gone to many conventions in my life, but the odd Comic-Con and stuff like that is wonderful. Chatting with people and seeing what they come dressed up as. I'm someone quite interesting, but I'm quite a big fan of Doctor Who. But I don't cosplay. I don't really know too much of the lore when it comes to like expanded stuff like Big Finish or comic books or novels. But I almost like. It's almost like I like to imagine I'm like playing with my sister's Barbies or something like that, where it's like it's like I have these actors on stage who are dressed up, who are these characters. They are the Doctor, they are the Daleks and whatever, you know, and so I get a lot of joy from that, and less so of the kind of cosplaying sort of thing. But I have a great amount of appreciation for it. I found it was quite interesting recently. I was at Comic-Con and someone was telling me, you know, how excited they were for the Outlander trailer, and of course it's got a lot to do with like Dallas, Texas in the 60s and circling around the Kennedy assassination. And one of them said to me, like, is that a reference to, and they named the comic book, but I don't know, I can't remember what it was for the they were like, is that a reference to the Doctor Who comic book of 1948? I was like, and I was just like, I had no idea that thing existed, but sure, you know. So that's kind of where I sit with it, where I'm like, you know, we're trying to do something completely original and something that's maybe not been done, but actually it probably has been, you know, and I'm just unaware of it. There's so much out there. So yeah.
Well, where did the idea for Outlander come from? What was the spark, I suppose, of where the idea came from?
So to do a Kennedy story is something I've wanted to do for about 10 years. So in about 10 years ago, we were making fan films that were mainly just sort of college friends or school friends just sort of mucking about and filming. You know, we'd evolved from being 8 years old. We were now about 18 years old. And I always wanted to do this Kennedy story, but it just wouldn't have worked because it's so hard to try and do Dallas, America in the 60s whilst filming it in England in 2025. And so it was always something that was really challenging to do. And then around 2021, we actually stopped making Doctor Who content. We basically said, we're moving on, we're going to, you know, get on with our lives, do new things. And there was just this thing that was missing, you know, this thing that I'd become so familiar with that I enjoyed doing. And we did like this one-off special, which was called A Blip in Time, which again had a history element where we worked with a wonderful actor who played Winston Churchill and actually is a Winston Churchill impersonator and makes a living off of it. So he was a really fun guy to work with. You know, it's a really nice sort of 10-minute long special. So it's really nice and simple. And it was with a crew, including cast of maybe just like 6 people, like really kind of small budget, kind of, you know, almost like a uni short film kind of size. And we did it. And I was just like, I have so missed doing that, and that was so much fun. And I just want to do that, but like times 1,000. And I want to just put all my eggs in one basket and make this the best thing I can possibly do, and fail trying. You know, if it goes wrong, I can reflect and go, it went wrong because of A, B, and C, instead of going, oh, I wish I'd done that. So I was just sort of like, let's make this the best thing possible. And that was probably kind of where the spark came from. And I went from, you know, having a team of 6 for the one-off special to we've Outlander probably has about 75 plus people involved, maybe 70, pushing on 80. And the crazy thing is, I worked this out the other day. About 20 of them I knew prior. So you're working with like 50, 60 people that you actually don't know, which is weird. It's like, I don't know who you are. I know who they are now. You know, I've had a year and 6 months of working with them, but you know, there's a lot of trust that I put in a lot of people, and all wonderful people, I must add, you know, and all people I now, so many of them I consider such close friends. But it had gone from being like friends making fan films to I just want to outsource and get as many wonderful people as possible, and just try and raise the bar really high. Hopefully not too high, but yes, but it's been a lot of fun.
It looks, as I say, the production values look incredible, but it looks like it's been fun to make.
Yes. Oh, definitely. Yeah. It's been stressful. There's been a lot of life lessons. It's been expensive, but it's been worth it. I feel like I know so much more now, a year and 6 months later, than I did before, in a good way, you know.
Yeah. Amazing.
Yeah.
Shall we quickly talk about Pyramids of Mars?
Of course, yes.
This week's Tale from the TARDIS. I've seen it a few times. Kate, this was your first time watching it, as far as I know. What did you think?
I really liked the gay agenda.
What do you mean, the gay agenda?
Well, the lights.
Oh, okay. I was really confused of where you were going. Okay, aside from the lights, aside from the shiny things, what did you think of...
The lights were pretty.
Pyramids of Mars. Sutek.
It was... the story is fun. It's... The setup of the episode at the very beginning where the Doctor is really moody because of he has to do as he's told.
Yeah.
And how Sarah Jane's interacting with him is brilliant, and then all of a sudden something goes wrong and he's happy.
Yeah.
Is brilliant. It's so good to see in this, considering like this is the fourth Doctor, the amount of things that I recognised in New Who as well. So you've got the future's not set in stone moment that the companion has.
Oh yes, which I think that was the first for back then.
Yes,
yeah,
and
kind
that
of jumping
scene
in the
is...
TARDIS, going forward and being like, look, there's it's kind of I don't know if you were watching the one that's that they brought out about a year or two ago, or the original, but I think they might have updated some of the graphics, but the original ones were a bit kind of like, there's fire out the door, you know, ooh, you know, like that could be us, you know. But yes.
The Doctor's excitement for when properly intelligent people react to how amazing his technology is. Brilliant. Yeah. Reversing the polarity. Love that.
Yes. Oh, yes.
And the Doctor is heartless, but he's not heartless. There's just more at stake than that little thing that's happening there.
Mm-hmm. What did you think of Sutek? This is my big question for you. What did you think of Sutek?
Sutek, I love his voice.
It's just... Oh...
I liked the bit where he was in the helmet and he was sitting there. He was kind of menacing. I love a character that is in all ways above the Doctor, like more intelligent, really, more powerful, all of that type of thing, because you actually feel the threat of it all.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Absolutely loved that. Did not like the weird doll face.
Oh, what the after he's unmasked, the yes, terrifying, absolutely terrifying as a child. You know, it's almost. I think it's based very much on Egyptian gods, but it's almost kind of like very very horse-like and very menacing. There's something almost kind of scary, especially when it's a practical thing, but it's kind of CGI'd in quite poorly. There's something almost off and menacing about it.
Uncanny Valley.
Yeah, yes, that's exactly it, isn't it? You know.
Yeah.
and that is, that story, that particular story, I have such fond memories of when I was young. And an absolute like it's Tom Baker like at like it's his pinnacle kind of highest moments, kind of period of his time,
What is your thoughts on the story, Mark? What is your best parts?
Yeah, I'm trying to remember it from memory because I have watched it recently, probably like I said about a year or two ago. But there's something just very scary about is it Marcus, the guy who gets possessed, and he's almost like Peter Cushing, but like they couldn't afford him, so they had someone just as menacing and kind of eerie-eyed kind of looking.
I put it down that he was a discount Vincent Price.
Okay, yeah, that's probably
yeah. Both make
very similar. Yes, I just I care a lot about like the aesthetics, kind of like the visualness of the I was gonna say the mummies, just kind of how they appear, and the kind of the design of Sutek and stuff like that. I remember the ending being quite scary. They kind of go a little bit too well. I wouldn't say CGI, but they rely heavily on like a blue screen or green screen. But in a good way, it's kind of almost quite trippy. Like you can't really see where the floor is and stuff like that. And it's very visually stimulating. And just like budget wise, such a simple, friendly kind of story to make. It's primarily set in a house or the TARDIS. There's not that many cast, but yeah, just a kind of really compelling story. And it's also Philip Hinchcliffe is producer at this point, and he's sadly the only surviving producer of the classic run, but he is probably the one that's responsible for the most memorable cliffhangers. Around this time with the Fourth Doctor, you get so many cliffhangers that are so jarring and kind of leave you wanting more, because at the end of the day, this was back when you couldn't binge it. You had to wait a week to watch what new episode of Doctor Who was going to be. So I think I remember mentioning to you, Amy, that there was this Doctor Who story called The Android Invasion, where this robotic Sarah Jane's face falls off. And for me as a kid, that was so scarring. But like, that was kind of the point from Philip Hinchcliffe, is like, you are going to remember this and you're going to tune in next week. And I think Pyramids of Mars has some very similar ones, some very scary moments that kind of leave you wanting more.
Like when Sarah Jane's being strangled.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. Well, I was going to say, I feel like there's a moment where you think someone's died, like there's something blows up, and I can't remember if that's a cliffhanger or not in this episode. But things like that are really, really powerful.
You'll have to remind me, Kate, the bit, because I originally watched this years ago, and then I rewatched it between The Legends of Ruby Sunday and Empire of Death, because Sutek. And then rewatching it now, I watched the like hour and 15-minute long edit of it.
Oh yes,
the part where Marcus gets shot, and then it's sort of, for me, and it reversed, and it was a really.
It's a wonderful shot, isn't it?
Yeah. So was that in the original? I'm not. It's not like
that is in the original.
Nice.
Yeah,
okay, cool. It was.
Yes, it is.
It was very well done for its time and very unsettling.
Yeah.
It was. Yeah, I love the gothic, like, eeriness of a lot of it as well.
Like, it's wonderful. He even walks for a bit. So the idea that this shot is like, okay, we're gonna have you walk backwards for a few seconds, turn on the spot, and then we're gonna detonate probably something that didn't run by health and safety for the 70s. No. Like, we're gonna detonate something on your chest. Okay, you'll be fine. And then we're gonna play it back. Oh god, I do love 70s Who. There's just something, it's like I wrote a lot about Doctor Who for my uni dissertation, and there's just these various different elements where Doctor Who really thrives. And you've got, in the 60s, it's Dalek mania. People just go crazy for the Daleks. There's this show comes out that's like no show ever before, but the Daleks are really the selling point, and especially for like odd toys and merch in the 60s. and then the show kind of dips down after the Second Doctor. No offense, Second Doctor, I loved the Second Doctor, you know, and I love Pertwee, and again, it's still kind of declining, and Pertwee's probably my favourite, to be honest, from the classic era. But Tom Baker comes in and just everything changes, and it just oomphs again, and viewership is up, and it's very rare for a show to have two bumps in a good way.
Yeah.
And then it sadly, it's not. It doesn't happen in the 80s. Again, I'm not throwing any shade to any episode of any era of Doctor Who, because I think there are so many wonderful stories. But there's not really this third bump of momentum, and it kind of slowly goes further down, which is a shame, because Davison's wonderful, Baker's wonderful, McCoy obviously.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just these kind of 70s Who is like really where the numbers start to show, viewer wise.
Oh, definitely. I like that there was this drive with Tom Baker's Doctor to have these gothic horror episodes or stories. You've got the Terror of the Zygon, Genesis of the Daleks sort of being a Frankenstein-esque story, Talons of Win Chiang, all of these stories that are sort of Doctor Who doing hammer horror.
Yeah. And what would you say, do you think Robots of Death falls into any of those categories?
I would say so.
Yeah, because again, another one that just is like top 5 best like classic Who stories, in my opinion. I love Robots of Death so much, but so the way they're designed and stuff, again, maybe appealing to that kind of gothic horror. I don't know, maybe a push kind of elements, you know. Yeah.
I like when Doctor Who, as I've said with Kate previously, I like when Doctor Who goes gothic, and I like when Doctor Who's weird. And this story, Pyramids of Mars, has a bit of both. It starts off, it's like it's going to be a historical about Egyptians, and then it's not. It's about a ancient god, and there's mummies walking around with really large chests for some reason.
Yes.
Big
but they're
titty
great.
robots.
I knew that.
Amen. Amen.
That's what we need more of in our lives.
Yes.
I just like the fact they... Yeah.
I'll quickly write a letter to Russell now. Just big titty robots. That is all. He'll know what I mean.
Yeah. I love the bit where 2 of the mummies just squish someone.
Oh, yeah.
Just
the rabbit guy.
Yeah.
Oh, yes. The one that was hunted. Yes. Yeah. Oh, bless him.
Rabbit man.
Isn't that the dream death, though? Suffocated by big titties.
Oh,
I don't know what that says about you, Kate. It's an interesting story. I love this. Yeah, I love this. I don't know if it's on par with Genesis for me. I know it's a very
so.
Yeah.
Genesis, I didn't really grow up with, which is a real shame because it is like the pinnacle episode of Classic Who. But so I watched Genesis a lot as an adult, where Pyramids and Robots of Death and Android Invasion are very much like childhood, like literally hiding behind the sofa. Like the definition of hiding behind the sofa are those stories where, you know, the Robots of Death are, you know, they're strangling people, or that, like you said, the mummies are strangling people, like Sarah Jane. Like that's proper Doctor Who hiding behind the sofa kind of moments, you know. Genesis doesn't really have that. Genesis is a really good story, but it's not. I wouldn't say it's scary.
No,
I don't think it's a scary story.
Yeah, I think it relies somewhat on the viewer's preconceived ideas of Daleks. And one of my favourite moments in Doctor Who ever is the moment where you see the Genesis Daleks, and they're almost silhouetted because of their colours, and they're going over that rampart. It's just... I love it. I love Classic Who has so many moments where there's like such iconic imagery, like the Doctor being hurt by Sutek by green light. Fantastic.
Yeah.
And it's interesting watching the green light of death. Yes, Kate. But it's interesting watching Pyramids of Mars after Gatwa's first season finale, because there's actually quite a lot in this episode, in this story, that pays off. Like when the Doctor's saying to Sarah Jane that if Sutek wins, he will destroy all life in the universe. He does. Be it, you know, he's a giant dog on a TARDIS.
Yeah.
But we don't mind that.
And he's always been there, hasn't he?
Yeah.
I don't know if you saw the memes about it, like, saying goodbye to Sarah Jane. It's like, get on with it, please, or
when Whittaker and Yaz are sat on the TARDIS eating ice cream.
Oh yes,
Sutek's there. When 12 is sat on the TARDIS at the beginning of Listen.
Oh yes.
I don't know how he was sat on
Sutek's
the
there.
TARDIS. Yeah.
God bless 12.
12 is one of my favourites.
He
What
just
is
likes hanging out with him sometimes. It's just there, enjoying the view.
Maybe Sutek's just lonely.
Maybe.
Maybe. Kate.
Yes.
I mean, what would you rate Pyramids of Mars out of 5? 5 mummies. Out of 5.
Out of 5 mummies. Out of 5 big titty mummies.
Yeah. Now we're talking again.
Yeah, see? It's not just the mummies.
I really wanted to circle back to the big titty moment, actually.
Well, they weren't circular big titties. They were rather Lara Croftian.
That's true.
Boxy. They were boxy.
Yeah. I'll just make note of that.
This was a really good episode. It's one of those ones where I Sarah Jane is just solidified for me as a brilliant companion,
as she should be.
And I can really see in this why there's you hear certain criticisms every now and again of newer doctors taking too much inspiration from Tom Baker, but you can see why.
Yeah.
He's so good and at what he's showing and how that relates to what's going on and the way that you kind of react to it as an audience member. I really understand why people kind of follow that kind of thing into the newer Who. Brilliant. I loved him in this. And justice for Rabbit Guy. Because he survived for so long. I thought he was going to die so quickly. And he kept on going.
Justice for Mummy.
So, let's go for... I'm going to say this is 5 big titty mummies, so 10 altogether.
Wow.
I don't know if that works, Kate, but okay. I'm going to agree.
Well, they've got 2 each, right? If they're...
Not really.
That's
it's
true.
like it's like a one thing, isn't it? Or is it 2? I don't know. They come in pairs.
A girl can dream, right?
That is Pyramids of Mars. Before we go back to talking about Outlander, I want to know, Mark, what is your favourite Doctor Who story of all time? Be it your favourite one that you will happily watch all the time, or if it's one that you would recommend to anyone. You need to watch this.
Oh gosh, what a question.
Yeah.
I'm someone that, I don't want to spend too long on it, but I'm someone that would probably say there's a solid story from each Doctor. But the Robots of Death, for me, there is something so wonderful about that story. It's one of my earliest childhood memories growing up with that story. It's so nice that you're on this kind of mining facility. You've got kind of Doctor Companion already pre-established friendship, so they already chat and banter and get on with each other. This is with Leela by this point. And I just found them so menacing and so scary. The very simple effects to make their eyes glow red, which they added in post, is just something I find really stimulating and very scary. Really scary story that people being picked off one by one. It's almost like a kind of murder mystery, like an Agatha Christie murder mystery on a mining facility in the far distant future. That's probably one of my favourite stories. There's obviously things in New Who that I also want to make clear that I love as well. I'm big fond of Blink, of a lot of David Tennant stories. I think Vincent and the Doctor is really great for the 11th. Like I said, I could go through each Doctor and say wonderful stories for each one of them. But that's probably where I feel really at home with is Robots of Death. I could list a lot of terrible Doctor Who stories. No offense, Doctor Who. I could tell you some really bad ones, but maybe not. Maybe another time.
Oh, there are some bad ones, but
Sadly.
it's why I love
With
Doctor
charm.
Who. Yeah, it's got good and bad, as all shows do. But
Absolutely.
sometimes you can't always have Sutek and the Daleks. You've also got to have the Absorbaloff. It's
Wait, what are you
swings and
implying?
roundabouts. Oh, Kate knows about my
What's
distaste.
wrong with that episode?
It's a good
That
episode.
was lovely.
Yeah, the concrete slab is all I need to say about that.
Oh yeah,
thing.
and the relationship reference between the two
Yeah.
of them.
Like, where does it go? I don't want to. Oh no, I don't want to.
Wherever they are, we hope they're happy.
Yeah, we don't shame here. This is a safe space podcast. We don't shame.
Of course.
Oh. So, Outlander.
If you love Slab, love
Yeah.
Slab.
No,
Amen.
no, Kate, no. no slab love. Slav love? Slab love. I can't speak now. Outlander. How are you, like, in terms of production? Where do you see it, like, coming out?
Yeah, so we have a release date penciled for the 29th of August, so it's roughly about 6 months away. We are like 90% the way through filming, so we have a few additional bits left to do, very close to the end. The core of it is done. It's just some pickups, some very small scenes, and we're already kind of in post. People are doing visual effects shots literally as we speak. People are composing music literally as we speak. And I'm sort of going through and picture locking. Picture locking sort of refers to kind of putting all the takes on a timeline and kind of just putting them in order. But we're not at the stage yet where you'd go into like mixing the dialogue so that it's nice and clear, or adding sound effects or color grading or whatever. I think we're on track. I think we're on track for a release in August, but I'm not afraid to push it back if I don't think it's ready. In the past, I've kind of been like, we have to get it out because we promised it, screw it. I think, not to bring up GTA 6, but it's been like delayed. It's been delayed like 3 times, and it's made me realize delaying isn't a bad thing, and people will still tune in. I've always kind of had the mindset that if I push it back, it's over and I've ruined myself. And it's all gone to the tip. But it's like if it's bad, if it's not finished, there's no point bringing it out. I think some past Ambient Homeland projects that we've done have been bad because we've rushed it. We've maybe set a deadline before we even began. And that's just very clumsy. But you learn that, and then you realise that that's not a good thing to do. So we've set a deadline. It gives us an initiative to act fast on it, but also we aren't against just postponing it. I'm not talking months or years, but maybe just by a couple of weeks or so. So yeah,
amazing. Where will it be premiering once it's done?
So it'll be on YouTube. So it'll always be free for everyone to see. Outlander was primarily put together by donations, so it was really great that a lot of fans donated and chipped in, and we still even have a GoFundMe up, which people are welcome to check out and donate to. But it'll always be free. It'll always be there in the public domain for people to check out. It will be. We're hoping to do a premiere. It'll probably be like a private screening for cast and crew, kind of like a wrap party sort of event. And we're going to try our very best to invite as many connections that we have of people who have actually worked on the show to come along and watch it with us at this premiere. Even if we invite 100 people and only 2 show up, I am thrilled.
Amazing.
But obviously, even more reason to have the cast and crew there. Otherwise, that would be a very awkward too. Like, you were invited? Yeah, I was invited. There's no one else here. So yes, make them feel a little less awkward if there's a couple of other faces in the audience.
And where can people find you online and Outlander as well?
Oh yeah, of course. So we have... we are pretty much everywhere. I say that. There are so many new platforms that are popping up all over the place. to list the ones we're on Facebook, we're on Twitter, the X as it's called now. I don't think I like that I'm on Twitter anymore. I'm kind of distaste for it, obviously, since the whole acquisition, but that's a different story. Yeah. We're on YouTube, we're on Instagram. We have a link tree. If that's the best way to sort of find us, we can always have that in the description or something like that, and that kind of lists all our wonderful stuff. We do have a Redbubble if anyone wants to buy merch. It's very rare that any merch gets sold. 9 times out of 10, I'm the one buying it. My girlfriend comes over, it's like, you got coasters with your YouTube logo on, or and it's like, but yes, there's a lot of wonderful things you can find out about us online, and the link tree is probably the best way to find them all.
Amazing. We will link to the project and everything on our Instagram bio. We only really use Instagram. And we'll
same. Yeah.
We'll link to things on this post as well, and on the podcast description as well, so people know where to find you. But the project looks incredible. I can tell, like, not just like seeing it, but you talking about it, it's not just I want to make this project for the sake of it. There is a lot of heart and dedication, and the fact that you don't care if people, obviously you want people to like it, but if people don't, you just want to make it for you and the people involved, and it's so great to hear.
Well, thank you. No, I really appreciate that. And I'm someone who I think I probably seek validation, probably from a very interesting childhood. I won't go into too much detail about it, but it's kind of where my drive comes from. It's kind of, I wouldn't say it's a weakness. I think it's something I've turned into a strength that I utilize to try and, I don't want to burn myself out, and I very rarely do actually suffer from burnout, which I guess is kind of a bit of a gift. But you mentioned about it having a heart, and I kind of wanted to segue into an interesting story that happened quite recently. So there's this guy who has just joined to help out with Outlander. He spent a lot of his time in the 90s doing music for some really big films and TV shows, Rec Room for a Dream, Seinfeld. He helped found LCD Sound System, which might be a band, or you might not.
Yes.
It's kind of, it might ring a bell. And he is someone who has been to the top of people who have made wonderful, brilliant things, and he has a distaste for it. Like, he's so put off by it because it's so industrial and so obsessed with numbers and marketing and money that the love for it is gone. And he just simply did what you two did. He watched the trailer. I didn't even tell him it was Doctor Who. I work with this guy, funnily enough, in retail. And he knew I was working on something. I didn't say it was Doctor Who. I shared it with him one day, and he was like, there's love there for it. There's clearly a big amount of love for the show, and it's just kind of obvious from just watching that trailer. And he was then hooked, like, whatever you need, I'll help you, I'll do it. And it's like, that was obviously very touching, but also, again, kind of resonates with what you were saying about you can really feel the love for this. And I think that's a vibe from so many people on set as well who have helped craft this project.
That's incredible. Well, I'd like to, once the project's done, if you'd like to, come back on the podcast and we can talk about it when it's out in the open. And
I've had a lot of fun doing this. It's been really nice.
Amazing.
So thank you guys. Yeah.
No, thank you for joining us.
We could review Outlander.
We could actually. That's a good idea, Kate.
You could rip it apart while I'm on call, and you have my microphone muted.
Did you see that part where the Doctor did this? Absolutely.
Oh, but no, that'd be lovely. Yeah, no, that'd be really nice. Yeah,
we'll do that. Well, we shall, once it's done and it's out, we shall arrange to have you back on and we'll discuss Outlander. We'll do a whole episode for it.
Thank you guys. Oh, thank you.
That'd be brilliant.
We might have to struggle with scheduling because you might shoot up and be a massive superstar.
Yeah.
No, I'm still human. No matter what happens, I'm still human.
I'm not. No, definitely not. I don't know what it'd be. I don't know.
A Dalek, you're obsessed.
I am obsessed with
Krillin
Daleks.
team.
I love Krillin.
I'm trying to think just of the randomest alien from Doctor Who.
The mighty Jagrafess.
Adipose.
Yes. Oh yeah, I could be an adipose.
I love an adipose. But yeah, thank you so much for joining us, Mark.
No, not at all. It's been a pleasure.
It's been fun talking to you.
Yes, not just about Doctor Who, but also the projects you're doing, Outlander. It looks amazing, sounds amazing, and I'm looking forward to having you back on when it's out in the world.
Yeah.
Oh yes, pleasure. That'd be fantastic. Yeah, that'd be really nice.
Thank you so much, Mark Bray, for joining us on the podcast and discussing Doctor Who Outlander and Pyramids of Mars. It was nice to be able to talk about both.
Yeah. It's nice. It was a nice mix of like up and coming fan stuff and old Doctor Who-y like stuff. It was a nice mix.
There will be links to all of the Outland stuff and Mark's stuff at MB and Homeland in our what's it called, bio, in our description thing on Instagram. Go check it out. It genuinely looks incredible, and I'm not just saying that because we've had Mark on the podcast, but it genuinely looks awesome.
Yeah, go have a look at all his stuff. The best thing you could do if you don't want to click on our links is just type in Outlander Doctor Who and it will come up.
Yeah. Don't go via us. Go via the algorithm.